This story goes out to all the people out there who paid 69.99. I'm so fucking sorry. Anyway, our story begins in the dark recesses of society. Sony Interactive Productions, a Naughty Dog game. Boom. The titans of industry have hit us once again. We're about to get the acclaimed sequel to The Last of Us. Our dreams are answered. Opening cutscene of highlights from the previous game. Joel and Ellie, the main team, the big boys, the shabinga bing. You get the sad cutscene of the final level of The Last of Us where you made the decision to rescue Ellie from a dirty hospital full of ill-trained staff. It's even recorded in the previous game. It's even evidential in the previous game that these people were unsuccessful. The Fireflies were an unsuccessful organization. If the federal government, if the government at the time couldn't sort out a cure, like all the Fireflies were doing, and this is what I find so ridiculous about it all, is all the Firefly were doing, they were finding people. There was actually other people with immunity. They were finding these people and taking out their brains, and they still couldn't create a vaccine or any kind of immunity. So basically, regardless of all this, Joel was right to rescue Ellie. He was completely right. The Fireflies were never going to create a cure, and nothing was ever going to come out of Ellie's death except Ellie dying. That was the only thing that was going to come out of it. And that's what I find so funny about this whole story, this whole stupid story. You get pretty much assaulted by this fact. Because one of the first things you see on your introduction to the game is this said doctor from that scene. And you're wondering, why is this guy here? Oh, it must be important, mustn't it? Anyway, the game continues on. You get a lovely cutscene with Joel and Ellie, him being an awkward dad, an awkward father figure, reminiscing with Ellie, and they play guitar. Well, Joel plays guitar and sings a sad song. It's great. Wished we would have got more scenes like that, but at the end of the day, who are we? Who are we to critique the intellectual juices of a acclaimed writer, a writer who also wrote The Last of Us 1, but he wasn't in the commanding role. He wasn't the lead editor. He wasn't in control of the ship at the time. And you can really see the difference here. This is really Neil Druckmann's, sorry. This is really his ship to sail. He is really sailing here, far away into the sky, blasting off into space. Please stop. Why are you doing? It doesn't matter. You get that lovely scene with Ellie and Joel, and your life moves on, and it's wonderful. You wake up 4 years later as Ellie, and you're like to yourself, "What the fuck just happened? Why is this happening to me? Why I'm here for Ellie and Joel, and just when things started getting wholesome and loving, shit's 4 years in the future, and now I've got some dude at my door knocking that I've never seen before, and they're telling me about a scene that I've never seen, about something to do with me kissing this girl, and I'm like to myself, what are these goddamn bastards on about? And I have to walk through the town with this fucker, and I have to go into this fucking tavern, and I have to be spoken to by this old lady who tells me to accept an apology for an incident I don't even remember. I wasn't even there. And then bloody fucking blah, you go through the town and you hop on a horse, and sorry, not Jackie Chan, but Jesse gives you this fantastic speech about going out and logging your books and wiggling your arms, and you feel like a freaking hero. And you know what? You ride off into the sunset. You ride off hard into the sunset. And it's a beautiful scenery. It's a beautiful vista. You're in a beautiful area. It makes you wonder, like, how vast is the area you're in? It doesn't matter. The screen goes black, and our truest nightmare awakens. The strongest woman to ever live, the brick house, Abaddon the great betrayer, Abaddon the despoiler. This brick house wakes up and she flexes those guns and she pumps them. She pumps them once, she pumps them twice. She's ready to awaken, like an Egyptian god from her tomb, like the Pillar Man from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. This ancient vampiric god awakens and is already pissed. She has a quick conversation with this guy. He's covered in snow. He's obviously been somewhere. I wonder where he's been. This is all shoved into your mouth. Boom! They're on this big hill overlooking the town. Bang, bang, bam. This is where the guy is. We've tracked him right here, right now, Jackson. Right here, right now. Basically, you have an argument with this dude and you run off by yourself. And like a bloodhound, like a trained killer, a suction cup on your face, like you have this guy's hoodie over your mouth. You go and you hunt and you fucking look for this poor guy. It skips back over then again to Deanna and Ellie, and you have some wonderful scenes together. You're going through the snow. You're having a great time. You and Deanna are you're gonna check your logbooks and you're gonna look out. You're gonna pretend you're smart and you're gonna climb up a zip line and you're gonna fill in your logbook and you're gonna ride your horse because that is the Dina and Ellie adventure. And you have this lovely cutscene where you're talking about like, oh, I'm so sorry for what I did to Jolie Poo. I'm totally gonna put on a movie for him tonight, and we're gonna have a great time. We're gonna have an '80s movie bonanza, and it's gonna be great. And you're like, wow, that's so nice. I can't wait for that cutscene. Anyway, Ellie and Deanna have a great time climbing around the place. They end up getting caught in a blizzard and going back to this guy, another character we never get to see, a 72-year-old Eugene character who sounds like a great load of crack. They end up going back to one of his hideouts full of weed. They end up wanking and banking all over each other, finding a jar full of joints, and having the time of their lives. And reminiscing about Eugene and Tommy, about Tommy and Eugene were in the Fireflies. Now the Fireflies did some terrible shit, just like we knew they did terrible shit in the first game. And this re-emphasizes for me the fact that Fireflies are pieces of shit and absolutely useless. But neither here nor there. It doesn't matter. You can they added a new modification thing into the game, so that's pretty interesting as well. You know, let's not forget that. Let's not forget what they've added. Even though I think there was modifications in the last game, but let's not joke around here, boys and girls. You have a wonderful scene of two young girls kissing because that's what we need. Gamers need this. Gamers rise up because we need this. And we've always needed this. Cuts to black anyway, and you go back to Abaddon, the greatest spoiler, and you cause an absolute stampede of infected to absolute peruse the area. Absolute carnage is occurred because of you, an absolute mayhem. You seem to alert every infected creature to this area. Like, I don't know, you're like, your scent is just arousing them. You end up going through this cool set piece of the fence falling down, pushed to the ground, and you're playing as Abby at this time, and you're feeling like, oh no, I'm gonna die. I'm so invested in this character. What's gonna happen? And Joel saves this bitch's life, and you're like, oh my god, Jolie poos. And you have this huge set piece. It's not huge, but it's long set piece area where you have to move this kind of cart, this hanging cart. You have to push it into place and let Tommy roll it over so you can climb up out a window. And you have a set piece where you're fighting, you, Joel, and Tommy, and you're saving each other's lives. You're having a great time. And you get away, you climb over the wall, bing, bang, boom, you ride away on your horses. So this is technically like the second time Joel and Tommy have saved Abby. Not only did Joel save her from the infected climbing on her face, he saves her again now, and they ride off to a place that Abby tells them that her group is at, and they've been well protected and all this stuff. And like not even before this, Joel and Tommy are like, "Hey, I'm Tommy. How are you?" And Joel is like, "Hey, I'm Joel. Nice to meet you too." Ooh. And it's so ridiculous. Like these guys who spent the last 20 years in the wilderness have encountered so many scenarios where literally resistance fighters. Joel even says he's on both sides. Tommy was a Firefly for years, and then set up his own base basically, where the player character starts out at. And it's ridiculous to me that they're so. I understand they had a life and death situation, but they're still giving up all this information to this absolute stranger. The game cuts to black anyway as you Abby and Joel ride off, and it cuts back to Ellie and her love interest in the love cave, just having a good time, embracing each other's bodies. Ellie tells her that Ellie tells her a little secret. It's pretty wholesome. I'm liking it. Good times for everyone involved. It's pretty beautiful. Then it cuts to Jesse walking in, and they're like, "Oh no, you've seen us. Oh no." Yeah, Jesse doesn't give two shits. He just informs them that Joel and Tommy are missing. They haven't reported back, and they're like, "Oh shit, we better stop making sweet love with each other, and we better go find them." Cuts back to Abby, Joel, and Tommy rattling the gates to Abby's friend's outpost, and they're like, "Waha, yeehaw!" They let them in anyway. Abby's friends let them in. They close the gate. They Molotov the infected. Yeehaw, good times. Tommy and Joel, they go in. They literally follow these armed strangers into a room. And he's acting so ridiculous. He's leaning up against the bar like he's out with his old friends. He's like, "My name is Tommy. I live just a couple of miles down the road. If you all need supplies, you can come down to our base. What are you, about 10 or 12 armed men? Yeah, we'll let you straight in the front gate, and you can pick and choose whatever you want, and we'll let you on your lonesome." And Joel's like, hey, my name's Joel, and they're all like, and literally the whole atmosphere of the room changes instantly the second he says Joel. And he's like, he's looking around with his little puppy dog eyes. Oh, this it's so ridiculous. And he's like, you y'all are acting like you know me. And out of scene, Abby just shotguns him into the leg, and they grab him, they pin him up against the wall. He says, just say whatever speech you've rehearsed or some shit. And she's like, shut up, old man, you can't rush this. And she just proceeds to beat him over the head with a golf club. And what I find ridiculous is Joel killed her father. He didn't tie him up. He didn't torture him. He just like literally her dad was a fucking idiot. What kind of dickhead holds a scalpel up and says, I'm going to stop you. You're not going to get by me, to a man who had literally at the time 3 or 4 different guns, a baseball bat, 3 smoke grenades, a couple of grenades, a brick, probably a couple of Molotovs, maybe even a bottle. This man tries to stop that man with a scalpel. Obviously, the man puts him down. He puts him down straight away. He doesn't torture him. He doesn't do anything. And literally, and this is just seconds, not okay, this is minutes after Abby's life being saved by Joel. So this is her this is her low moment. She proceeds to just beat the shit out of this dude that just saved her. She bumps him on the head, the screen goes black, it goes back to Ellie on the hunt. Let's go. Let's go, Ellie. Let's save our boy. Come on, we can't let the story end like this, Ellie. Woohoo! Yeah, you play as Ellie, you run around, you're going in there, you have the gun out, you're going through the door, you're gonna save the day. Hey, stop it! Guy comes from the corner of the door, grabs your gun, they all assault you and beat you up. Not before that, you get to slash a guy. Whoa, I'm such a hero. Anyway, you get pinned to the ground, the guy you slashed wants to kill you. Pretty much everyone wants to kill you. And this is another stupid part of this, like, she's there beating the shit. Basically, Ellie gets to just push to the ground and has to watch Abby beat the shit out of Joel. And that's really it. Yeah, she tortures this dude. I don't know, like, I don't know. I don't remember Joel torturing anyone that she knew, or like, but it's fine. She's begging her to stop, and she doesn't give two shits. She hops him in over the head, and that's fine. Then they made this weird argument that they can't kill her and Tommy because they didn't do anything, and then they let them go. But it kind of makes no sense. This is a violent group. Like I'm going to assume that they've killed people before, but they let Tommy and they let Ellie go, and it makes no sense. Like this whole 5 minutes is so stupid and it's pointless, and it makes the whole game continuation afterwards completely pointless because number one, this scene happened, and and logically, if you look at it in mechanics of the story, in what has been set up as the characters themselves, and like setting up the reasonings of the character themselves to this point, what they're able to do, what their reasonings are, what kind of experience they have in certain situations. And when you're placated with a scene like this that shows everything you've learned from 20 plus hours in the previous game, throws it out the window, and gives you some weird, kind of grotesque fan fiction, you ask yourself, what meaning does the rest of the game have? And I know there's flashbacks and there's all these wonderful moments, but all they give you is a cock tease of moments you'll never be able to actually share again. There will be never a continuation. It has been killed. Whatever stuff you learn going forward, it's dead. It stopped dead. It's like it might give you the warm fuzzy, but there will never ever be a continuation of it. And that truly is the sad thing of The Last of Us. They tease us, they cock tease us with with this father daughter dynamic that we wanted a continuation of from the last game. And they tease us with the ghost of it, and they know completely that we will never actually be able to experience it going forward, just as an after image. And that truly, to me, is the biggest problem with the game. They've tainted it completely, regardless of what achievements the animators. Look, it's a beautiful looking game. It has some amazing music and some amazing voice acting and motion cap. There is some amazing parts of this game. But when you're given something as a continuation, the source material should be treated with some element of respect. I understand you wanted to kill off the main character, and that's fine, but not the way you did it. That's what people are angry about. It's the way it was done. If it was done differently, none of this would be happening.